Tonight, new details on a major Canadian military spending announcement. What we're learning about Mark Carney's lucrative contract for new submarines ahead of a NATO meeting.
I think for Canada, it's can Carney make Canada credible as a military power?
The focus of upcoming talks and the Trump effect. The mission to recover one of Canada's thousands of missing soldiers.
We know how to do this. We know how to search.
Who's being recruited to try to help ease a family's pain. Plus, inspiring the next generation on the pitch.
Watching it just made me see how good I need to be.
Reflecting on the historic World Cup run and the lasting impact at home.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. We begin with a major military announcement coming tomorrow in Halifax. Sources confirmed to CTV News the Prime Minister will reveal who will build Canada's new submarine fleet before heading to the NATO summit in Turkey. A German-Norwegian consortium and a South Korean company are competing for the more than $100 billion contract, expected to showcase how Canada plans to increase spending to reach the new NATO target of 5% of GDP by 2035. CTV's Ottawa Bureau Chief Graham Richardson on what's at stake.
It was a very 2026 moment a few weeks ago in the White House.
Now I want to take you, if you stay here, I go over to these boards here.
The NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte fawning over U.S. President Donald Trump and his push for more military spending from NATO members.
The Trump trillion shows you the increase Europeans and Canadians are paying into defense since you took office in 2017.
The Trump factor, one dynamic for this NATO meeting, the other, the war in Ukraine and Russian aggression. For Canada, officials describe a changed, positive narrative about military spending. Sources confirming to CTV News an announcement on Canada's submarine purchase will be made in Halifax before Carney leaves for NATO.
Well, I think for Canada, it's can Carney make Canada credible as a military power? And I think it's the same thing for all of NATO. You know, this is not a summit about spending. It's actually a summit about can we produce the weapons.
Part of Canada's story at NATO will be told by Ottawa companies like Anvil.
We help modern militaries make sense of the enormous amount of battlefield data that is there.
They help coordinate battlefield data between different forces.
And show the world that Canada is producing kind of consequential, important capabilities which can strengthen the alliance.
Despite all the spending by the Allies, there is another side to the Trump factor Rutte did not mention.
President Trump has made the United States the most destabilizing power in the world. That's quite a statement. But really, the international order today is destabilized because of actions that the United States is taking.
Could Donald Trump's anger at European allies over the war in Iran overwhelm everything at next week's NATO meeting? Yes, that's possible. Canadian officials certainly hope that doesn't happen. They have a new story to tell about this country's newfound interest in its military for the first time in a long time. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
Donald Trump was top of mind at the funeral of Iran's former leader. Anti-American chants rang out as hundreds of thousands attended day 2 of funeral prayers for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The 86-year-old supreme leader was killed by U.S. and Israeli airstrikes in February. Absent was the son of the Ayatollah, who has taken over as Iran's new supreme leader. It's believed he was gravely wounded in the attack that killed his father. Here at home, a developing story in Quebec tonight where a train has derailed in a suburb northeast of Montreal. CN says its crews are responding to about 20 rail cars that went off the tracks in Repentigny. This drone video shows just how close the derailment got to some people's backyards, with debris spilling onto a bike path. CN says there are no reports of injuries. There is an emerging divide over a proposed high-speed rail project that would connect a number of major cities between Quebec City and Toronto. CTV's Jeremy Sharon on the new survey showing the split as he ventures to a community that could host a future stop.
In rural Ontario, a fierce debate has been ignited.
He's our guardian dog.
Farmers concerned about what the Alto high-speed rail project could mean for them.
We're very concerned that we're not being taken into account by Alto. The tone of what has been communicated so far has been concerning.
Glenn Mackenzie's family farm is within a proposed rail corridor.
So we have a mile-long grazing corridor. We practice rotational intensive grazing. The cattle are on a small strip of land, and we keep moving them down until they reach the end. If they went through this strip of land, it would be over for us.
A new survey from Nanos Research for CTV News shows the country is divided over the major multi-billion-dollar project. 38%, or 4 in 10, believe it should be a high priority for the government, while the same feel it should be a low priority.
Now, support for the project varies depending on where you are. Here in Kingston, where the government recently announced a proposed stop, many welcome it.
Like a high-speed train going from one end of the province to Quebec would be very useful.
That sounds great to me.
The amount of damage that it's going to do to communities, to the land, to the environment, is just overwhelming.
A reliable high-speed train would be a great kind of thing.
Kingston's mayor says if the project does go ahead, they want to see Kingston included.
We need better rail service in Kingston. We're a rail-oriented community. We're used to taking the train, and I hear from people all the time about how there needs to be better options.
A route is not yet finalized. Alto has only publicly shared this proposed corridor. The company has completed a first round of public consultation and has scheduled more for the fall. But back on the Mackenzie farm, that uncertainty is part of the frustration.
That's right. I mean, if it's not us, it's somebody else.
Jeremy Sharon, CTV News.
The city of Brandon, Manitoba has declared a state of emergency as parts of that province brace for possible flooding. The city has already built a dike across a major roadway to block rising waters from nearby rivers. Brandon's mayor says the emergency declaration allows the city to take proactive measures.
We know what's coming. We know we've been through these sort of things before. It gives us the ability to act quick should things change, because weather is very temperamental, to say the least.
The town of Mendoza and Sioux Valley Dakota Nation have also declared states of emergency. First responders will soon be covered by new protections. Tucked into the recently passed bail reform bill are measures that will make it easier for courts to increase sentences for assaulting a police officer, paramedic, or firefighter. CTV's Rachel Aiello looks at the changes and why advocates say they're needed.
Hold your head nice and still.
First responders show up to help on someone's worst day. But they face unique risks and sometimes violence against them once arriving on scene.
Many first responders are regularly exposed to violence, threats, aggression, traumas, incidents that's part of their work. So these experiences don't always result in physical injuries, but they have lasting effects psychologically.
Though there's now optimism that newly passed changes to the criminal code will help reduce these instances, or at least ensure tougher penalties for perpetrators. Soon, judges will have to consider if a victim of a crime was an on-duty firefighter, paramedic, police officer, or other first responder as an aggravating factor that could increase the sentence.
This is a reactive response, unfortunately, but it's certainly an important step that the government has taken. And by prosecutors and judges putting this out in there and utilizing this new legislation, we're hoping that that becomes preventative in the long run. Not only with the public, but also for our members to make sure they're reporting these incidents so that they gain more traction.
These changes were stitched into the broader Bill C-14, the Bail and Sentencing Reform Act, which received royal assent when Parliament adjourned for the summer in June.
The message that violence against first responders will not be tolerated.
The new policy comes into effect on July 15th. Advocates say it's a welcome move, but is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to improving the day-to-day conditions for Canadian emergency workers.
When you're attacked at work and you're assaulted, scratches, hit with pipes, shot at, that obviously has a negative impact. So making sure there's supports in place to help with those first responders on an ongoing basis is extremely important.
After a recent string of on-the-job police deaths and injuries in his province, Ontario Premier Doug Ford is pushing for a national conversation on the issue when all of Canada's premiers gather later this month in Charlottetown for a Council of the Federation meeting. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A day after that heartbreaking ending to Canada's historic World Cup run, some of the team returned home. Members of the squad arrived at Pearson Airport with their heads held high after being eliminated by Morocco in the round of 16.
We're going to look back on this 6 weeks fondly and just remember, what we did as a nation and what we did as players and how we helped grow the game of soccer in Canada, which was our goal that we set out to do.
So the support, the love, the liveliness in every city was unbelievable for all of us.
Hopefully with the momentum that we brought it from this tournament, we can continue to push on and push forward and try to go even further in the next one. And hopefully we inspire the generation of younger Canadian kids to come help us do that.
And Captain Alphonso Davies spoke out online after not playing in Canada's loss yesterday due to a lingering hamstring injury. Davies writing in part, "It hurts knowing I couldn't give my all when my team and my country needed it most. This disappointment will only motivate me to recover, work harder, and come back stronger than ever. To everyone who supported us through every moment, thank you." Canadian soccer fans are still reeling from the loss, but there is plenty of optimism for the team's future and the future of the sport in this country. Here's CTV's Kamal Karmali with the impact on the pitch.
Canada, whose World Cup ends.
Less than 24 hours after Canada was knocked out from a historic FIFA World Cup run, these Canadian kids dropping everything to take to the pitch, ready to pick up where the national team left off, inspired, motivated to one day take the men's squad to the next level, something 12-year-old Riley Ross dreams of doing.
It would be really good to represent my country. Lots of people watching me.
Youth soccer camps like this one have been reporting a surge in kids signing up in the past few years, adding to the sport's growing momentum across the country.
We only had maybe 1-2 teams per year, and now we're up to, I think we have about 30 teams here plus going, so it's growing.
A chain reaction from Canada's performance in the last 2 World Cup tournaments, but now the real work begins.
The game throughout the country has to get better, has to continue to grow, because it's all part of the big picture.
So what does that look like? Canada is on the right track, but the next step would mean more infrastructure, like soccer residency centers.
A lot of the other football nations have that and have that established. So a place where not only our kids can grow, but they can get professional training.
And more youth academies with a direct pipeline to professional teams. Right now, there are 3 Canadian Major League Soccer teams with programs that scout youth and help them grow their talents. Other soccer nations have many more, but the birth of the Canadian Premier League about a decade ago can help with that.
Hopefully, he pays close attention to finding an infrastructure that is a pathway that is constantly pushing kids to the next level.
Alex.
So fear not, football fans. Canada's World Cup run appears to be just the beginning, with the team's future
Watching it just made me see how good I need to be.
in good hands and great feet. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
There are reports that U.S. President Donald Trump intervened to convince FIFA to reverse a suspension on Team USA's leading goal scorer. Folarin Balogun was handed a red card for stepping on the ankle of an opposing player in the Americans game last Wednesday. But following a call by Trump to FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the suspension was lifted in time for Balogun to play against Belgium on Monday. The move was praised by Trump, who thanked FIFA for reversing what he called a great injustice. Coming up.
He was killed in action on June 15th, 1915.
Who this Canadian family has enlisted to help find a loved one lost in the First World War. A Canadian family whose loved one vanished during the First World War is determined to find answers after more than 100 years. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth on who they've enlisted for help to lead the effort and bring the soldier home.
Alicia Trelford carries numerous artifacts to honor her great-great-uncle, Lieutenant Lionel Tranter, who left his home in Southampton, Ontario in 1914 and signed up when Canada went to war.
He was killed in action on June 15th, 1915.
The circumstances around Tranter's death are a mystery. He simply disappeared.
We know the timeline of everything.
Tranter's family has saved the letters he wrote while fighting in the First World War. There are also pictures, enlistment papers, and his death notice.
The letters that he wrote home, he was a very passionate, overprotective brother. So it would have been a great loss to that family.
Trelford and her family have now turned to Acadia University archaeology professor Aaron Taylor for help. Taylor has previously worked with the U.S. Defense Department finding Americans who went missing in previous wars.
There's a map detailing where.
Taylor has located the field where Tranter is likely buried in an unmarked grave.
It's near Givenchy. In northern France.
He hopes to lead an on-site search for Tranter later this year. Searching for lost soldiers has become a passion for Taylor and his students. This painting on campus is a powerful tribute to those who died in previous wars.
We have over 27,000 missing Canadians from the First and Second World War and the Korean conflict.
For each one who is missing, there is a family searching for answers for decades.
We know how to do this. We know how to search.
Trelford and Taylor have asked the Canadian government to lead the search for anyone who served in war and disappeared.
We have made attempts to reach out to various levels of government, and we're not getting any feedback.
She hopes to raise money and awareness and end a lot of pain for many families.
We have the ability to go and get them and bring them home.
Including her great-great-uncle, Lieutenant Lionel Tranter, who died for his country more than 100 years ago, and now his family wants to find him and bring him home. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Wolfville, Nova Scotia.
Still ahead tonight. How revelers are reining in spending at the Calgary Stampede. Along with celebrating Alberta's agricultural history, the Calgary Stampede is famous for its food, rides, and one-of-a-kind treats. But it doesn't come cheap. CTV's Kathy Lee on just how much a meal could cost you and what some visitors are doing to stay on budget.
Deep-fried food, sweets, and cold drinks. The Calgary Stampede is full of temptations.
Donuts, donuts, donuts!
Including the famous mini donuts that 5-year-old Chloe Zelke gets to eat for breakfast.
I'll go 12.
With free admission on Family Day and various free events on the grounds, Jessica Zelke has more money to splurge on food, but they'll still need to keep to budget.
I budgeted $50 because that's what I had.
The cost of food on the Midway can add up quickly. A person can spend up to $50 on a meal, a drink, and dessert.
We got the taco in a bag. This one's $17.
Mac and cheese, it was just over $20.
For the two, it's $50.
$35 for the turkey leg.
To avoid breaking the bank, Shyla Zumak and her husband only pick one item each to splurge on. Those trade-offs don't end at the Stampede gates. They're also not planning on any elaborate trips this summer.
The way the economy is, and yeah, it's not worth it.
Her decision reflects a broader trend. A recent CIBC poll found 65% of Canadians are prioritizing saving over spending this summer, with 39% planning to travel, but most of those trips closer to home or within Canada. For those who've made the Calgary Stampede a destination, Julie Forget says there are ways to stretch the dollar.
If you come on a free day, you cannot spend a dime. You know, you are allowed to bring in food, you are allowed to bring in your own water bottles. Plan ahead just for that one splurge, and then just know where the other options are for cheaper options.
Mango smoothie?
One vendor trying to keep prices down, the smoothie shop.
Our personal prices have skyrocketed, but we don't want to just pass that along because that just makes it difficult for everybody.
It's an effort they hope makes the 10-day event a little more affordable for families like the Zelkes.
Let's go over here.
So even in tough economic times, the Calgary Stampede can still be a treat. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Canadian tennis star Felix Auger-Aliassime is moving on at Wimbledon.
Finally, he takes it. And there is the release of the emotion.
The Montreal native defeated Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in a grueling 5-set match that took almost 4.5 hours. Felix now advances to the quarterfinals, where he'll face 7-time Wimbledon champion Novak Djokovic. And Toronto native Summer McIntosh set a world record in the women's 200-meter butterfly at the Canadian Trials in Montreal, finishing the race in 2 minutes and 1.65 seconds. It's her 4th world record. Still ahead, what's motivating a team to create these truly Canadian electronic animals? We leave you tonight with a unique and high-tech idea spreading joy in BC. It's a trio of electronic animals you could say are truly Canadian. Here's CTV's Adam Sawatsky.
When you stop to wonder what Janet Mader's carrying,
these are robot wildlife.
And she introduces the robot goose as Gustav, before mentioning the robot loon is named after an iconic singer.
This is Celine Dion.
And then David Bino tells you they have a third animatronic animal.
Yeah, we've got an electric beaver.
You're grateful they agree for you to follow them into their hack space and meet who they named after a former prime minister.
His name's Lester Beaver Pearson, because Canadian history nerds and bad puns.
But also because David and Janet simply thought it would be funny to make Lester Beaver Pearson rideable.
Oh, it's hilarious.
So Janet figured out new welding techniques, while David learned all about electronics.
Whenever I get stuck kind of thing, she can usually find a way out and vice versa.
And while the other animals are featured at combat robot tournaments, with Gustav the Goose performing the halftime show and Celine Dion singing the national anthem in both official languages, Lester Beaver Pearson makes appearances all over the place.
I personally just like to inject little bits of joy.
A couple of David and Janet's friends rode the beaver during their Canadian citizenship ceremonies over Zoom.
So they can feel like that much more Canadian while taking their oath of citizenship.
And then a bunch of their neighbors borrowed them for a nonagenarian's birthday. That's a 90-year-old's.
Nonagenarian beaver rodeo is a phrase I never thought would enter my lexicon, but it was amazing.
But best of all is when they take the beaver out in public to build a community by offering rides to strangers.
So nice to see that you're making somebody smile, because there is so much awfulness. So it feels really important, being kind.
Like our country was created by all sorts of different people coming together to make this mosaic we call Canada, Janet and David are hoping to inspire others to build all sorts of things to make our communities more fun.
It's kind of a wonderful time to be alive, really.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News.
That is our newscast for this Sunday. I'm Heather Butts for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Sandy and Omar will be here tomorrow, and I'll see you again on Friday. Good night.